Welcome back to Mark Holobitz's vlog, everyone. Thanks for joining in. And yes, I know it's been a cool couple of weeks. There's been lots going on, and quite frankly, it's been very, very cold here. And when I say that, I mean, I think we were down to minus 30 here for about a week. Very cold, so it's been tough to get out and do a whole lot. But as you can see, we've got the wonderful F Type there. And you know what? Looking at the weather out here, even though it's snow, it's still a little fresh. It's about minus 10 right now. It's still reasonable. So we can certainly going to take the car out for a drive. But I want to talk about something that people often give these Jaguars, give them some bad credit. And obviously there are some problem areas that, I mean, I don't think any car is perfect, if we're being honest. And I think a lot of Jaguars are problematic, some of the older ones. And I came across this article here on my phone here, basically by hotcars.com. And, certainly I want to point out some problem areas. I mean, a lot of people talk how unreliably Jaguars are, Jaguars, if you will. And while some of them are problematic, and there's been real trouble ones in the past, I got to say a lot of them actually are quite reasonable. And from what I've experienced so far with the F Type, it's been more than reasonable. I put a decent amount of miles on it so far, and other than a little bit pricey maintenance, it's not extraordinarily unreliable. There's a few hangups and glitches, and we've talked about that. But I want to go through this and see what you guys think, and drop a line down below. I'd love to hear it. But going through this list, there's 10 cars that they identified, Jaguars, that they said are so unreliable they're not worth owning. And as a matter of fact, and if I could so quote it as saying, they wouldn't waste their money on. So I want to talk about the first one, and we're talking about the XF. So 2014 XF. Any of you guys out there maybe have those. And what we're talking about here is a car they're saying has 7 recalls. And recalls are what they are. I mean, sometimes that's a lack of quality control, and sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes it's just a bad design all the way around, and it's hard to get under control in terms of repairs and maintenance. And what they're basically saying is it's their well-established luxury sedan. It's obviously competition for the E-Class Benz as well as a 5 Series BMW. And really what they're saying is it's such an unreliable car because they're supercharged V8s and that won't stop rattling. Maybe there's an issue there. I don't know. You guys have any thoughts about that? May have to spend, I don't know. They're saying about $883 to about $1,000.79 to keep your XF in good shape all year round. So I would say that's probably not too far from the truth. My experience has been typically $1,000 to $1,500 a year to keep things going. And that's more than just oil services. But if you start kind of averaging things out between tires and brakes and all the other pieces, yeah, you're probably in that range. So it's not an inexpensive car, but that's one they identified. Another one is the X Type. Well, we know what that is, the Ford Mondeo. And the X Type is a cool looking little Jag, I'm not going to lie. But unfortunately, I know there's been problems with head gaskets and all kinds of other things like that have been real trouble areas. And unfortunately, the styling is great, but the mechanics weren't all that great. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that choice, being that that's a problem area. Of course, that car, they're saying transmission problems. They're saying lots of recalls, 134 complaints registered. It's a real problematic car because that's sort of when Ford kicked in and they weren't necessarily creating the best product. Of course, it was a way for Jaguar to get a product quick and dirty out to the field, but unfortunately it wasn't really the best representation of the brand. Then they're saying the 2017 F-Pace. Well, I've personally had an F-Pace for a while, and I can speak it's quite reliable from my experience. I know coolant leaks sometimes are a thing, and what they're saying here is basically engine may still fail, causing you to spend more money on repairs, even if you're doing maintenance, basically. NHTSA has 34 complaints about the issues, 4 recalls, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They're saying it's basically one of the most unreliable cars of 2017. Honestly, I don't know. I think you can really challenge that. I don't think they're that unreliable. I know they do have issues. We have another one, the S-Type. 2000 S-Type, 145 NHTSA complaints. Well, the S-Type, kind of a different looking bird with that front grille. It's a little different for sure, and those headlights are kind of unique. But they're saying thanks to the 4-liter V8, performance of this S-Type is on par with other European sedans. It's a bit more reliable than the 5 Series. You may be while the 2000 S Type is a bit more reliable than the 5 Series. You may be very disappointed with the engine, transmission, and suspension. The average cost for replacing a suspension in an S Type, we're talking $1,600. But what is that? I mean, what is replacing suspension? I don't know. Last time I checked, suspension was actually quite involved. There's all kinds of parts. You know, we have control arms and, you know, shocks or struts. We have, you know, there's all kinds of pieces, ball joints. I mean, I don't know. The list goes on. There's lots of moving parts within a suspension. So it's kind of a vague comment, but 145 complaints, 4 recalls, and they're basically saying loose nuts, fuel leaks, malfunction, seatbelt problems. Not a great result. And then next in line is a 2018 E-Pace suspension problems. I've heard about that being a thing, and sometimes, you know, electrics and suspension issues in the E-Pace have been a problem. Now, from what I understand, the engine in the E-Pace, and I spoke of this in another video on Exotic Car Play Place, the E-Pace does use an engine built from another plant, and it's supposed to be more of a modular design, something that's shared with some other manufacturers, and supposedly the drivetrain itself is supposed to be quite durable. Suspension's quite noisy is what they're saying. There's a couple of recalls, brake fluid leaks and fuel leaks, so who knows? I know XE is a model that they talk about fuel leaks from time to time, but they're claiming that that is a thing. I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with the E-Pace. Anybody have any thoughts? Anybody here online have one? I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on the E-Pace and the overall reliability. So another one on the list here is what they're looking at is the 2014 XK. Wheel and brake problems is what they're saying, but honestly, the XK is a sexy car. I'm not going to lie. We all know what it's based on, and we all know what it's about. I think if you're on this watching this video, you can probably appreciate what we're talking about. It's one of the most beautiful styling attempts here by Jaguar. But anyhow, they're saying the 2014 is beautiful, but you should consider other sports cars. Like a Miata? Maybe an early generation C4 Corvette? Yeah, no, I like the XK myself personally, but they're complaining that people or owners are saying, you know, wheels, steering, brakes, fuel system, interior parts. I think a lot of Jaguars, we have interior parts. We know sometimes cosmetics. I saw actually on the forum this afternoon, somebody with the little knobs and buttons next to their power seat controls were starting to peel away. Yeah, there's a little bit of that, buttons and knobs that start to wear and start to bubble and whatnot. There's a few quality control issues on plastics and pieces, but overall, I wouldn't say it's horrible. But they're saying there's a complaint that there's 4 recalls, but they're saying like ABS brakes, stability controls are problematic. The big thing here that they're saying is, you know, poor traction because of the high performance tires, poor traction in rain and snow, but that's what it is. It's summer tires. It's going to be brutal in the snow. So you just have to outfit them. And we all know that, you know, I talk about driving my car in the winter, and, you know, I think you just have to be prepared for that. Put the right skins on your vehicle, and you're pretty much good to go. So honestly, while there may not be the most perfect or most reliable vehicles, I don't think they're that bad. I love them. They're great looking cars. Really, really great looking for sure. Another one, they're saying the XK8 transmission failures. Saying an 03, you know, it's with the 4.2 liter V8. You might want to try something different. Water pump, valve gaskets, power steering pumps, transmission issues. What do you guys think? Anybody here online actually run an XK8 or have experience with a, you know, say an 03 or thereabouts? I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about them, but under low temps, snowy conditions, the XK8 basically crawls. If it's not enough, Jaguar has also had to recall 88,000 units for fuel leaks, bad fuel leaks. I mean, fuel leaks are problematic. You never want to mess around with fuel leaks at all in any car. I don't care whether it's a Honda, Toyota, or a Jaguar. It's a serious issue. Take care of it. 2017 is another one for the XE. Now, I had an XE on loan for quite some time there a couple years back. I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, there's a few quality QC issues with, I remember looking on the dash and you seeing trim wasn't aligned from one side to the other side of the dash. It looked a little different. But overall, it was a good starter, good runner, good performance. It looked great. And as long as I had it, it was amazing. But they're basically saying that it's the smallest and most affordable sedan in the lineup. It's comparable to the 3 Series and S-Class. Of course, we have a C-Class, Mercedes here. It would be competition for that type of vehicle in the sedan, as well as BMW has their 3 Series. That was direct competition. They're saying stalls without warning while driving may become, steering might become stiff due to a loss of power assist. Of course, if it stalls, you're going to lose your power assist. JD Power gave that sedan a reliability score of 74 out of 100. 2 recalls for it, fuel leaks, rear rail assembly. I also know the infotainment system's not great on it. Other than that, they're great. I don't know. I would still buy one. Absolutely. They're amazing. I loved the car when I had it, for the period of time I had one. And so another one on the list actually that they have is the XJ, a 2011. Anybody have experience with those? I too also do not. They're basically saying it's almost unrecognizable from the previous generation. So quite a big substantial redesign. They're saying lots of problems under the hood. Specifically sticky buttons. I think a lot of Italian cars have the sticky button syndrome, saying engine shuts down without warning sometimes. Too many problems. They're saying 11,413 units of the 2014 XJ were recalled for various reasons, ranging from faulty airbags, improperly adjusted wiper arms. It's no wonder the XJ sedan earned an average JD Power reliability score of 79 out of 100. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? But I can't comment. Maybe somebody else there is aware of that. And if you can believe it, right here, the F Type is one car that they said they would never, ever buy right there, that they would never buy with their hard-earned dollars. And what they're saying is a 2015 F Type doesn't lack the luxury or style. Okay, great. There are reports of the F Type engine under 30,000 miles jerking and bursting into flames. Anybody here? Obviously a lot of you guys are here because you love the F Type. I love the F Type. I haven't heard a whole lot of bursting into flames. Unless it's, in a collision. If you crashed and smashed and then there's flames, yeah, that can happen. Anybody here aware of that scenario, that just where these cars inadvertently burst into flames? I'd love to hear if you guys are aware of that, because I haven't really seen too much of that. They're saying 14,411 units of the 2015 due to problems with steering, seatbelts, and airbags. Steering. I don't know. I haven't had any problems with mine. You get a little clunk sometimes if you go full lock from the front differential. You can get that, but that's not steering related. Seatbelts. Have you had any problems with seatbelts or any of that kind of issue? Or airbags? I don't know. I haven't heard of a lot of that. And, granted, I haven't experienced every issue. My car is a 2018, knocking on wood. But basically, I haven't seen a whole lot of issues with that. Have you guys? I'd love to hear your comments down below if you have any of those issues that were reported based on, some of these so-called facts. And then they're also saying, based on Kelley Blue Book, it's not exactly the smoothest or quietest car. No shit, Sherlock. I want that car loud. If I didn't want it loud, I'd go buy a Tesla. Pardon my lingo, but basically, absolutely. There's not many like this, and they're not going to be like this for very long. So if you want quiet, there's lots of great options out there. But you don't want quiet. Smooth, it rides like a sports car. They're actually quite smooth for a sporty car, but they are very stiff, and sometimes they're a little bit rough, especially if you're hitting tar patches or uneven pavement. But they're amazing. They're rough. Yeah, they're a sports car. They're loud. Yes, they're a sports car. They're aggressive. They were known for that because of these exhausts. Amazing exhaust system that makes these things so pop, snap, crackle, pop. And then that's just part of what that whole excitement is in owning these F-Types. And that's why I personally love these, but a lot of people say they would never own one because of those noises coming out of the exhaust. That's not where I'm coming from. But anyway, everyone, thanks for joining in today. Drop a line. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of those vehicles that you would never own. Would you own one? If you have, would you own one again? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please drop a line. Thanks so much for joining. And as well, we'll see you on the next one. Catch you real soon. Bye-bye.